Hey, what are you cooking today?
I'm gonna make something animal-based. I'm a big fan of meat and keto.
Amazing. Do you want any help?
I would love help, actually.
Great. So do you mainly eat carnivore or keto?
I eat animal-based, and I make sure I don't have gluten or seed oils, and I try to get organic grass-fed as best as possible.
Gotcha, yeah. That's pretty much what I eat too.
Okay, 100% grass-fed and finished. This is the one that we want. Organic, non-GMO. This is legit right here.
Welcome to Katie in the Kitchen, a series in which I interview people and cook with them with the hopes to re-inspire people to connect with their food.
Let's do convection bake at 350 for the meat.
Okay, I see bake and convection bake. I've only used bake in the past. What's the difference?
So convection bake is what's gonna help circulate the air more, and that way it'll cook more evenly throughout the meat.
Ha, I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
The more you know.
3, 5, 0, start.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, Katie. Hi, my name is Ben Azadi. I'm the founder of Keto Camp and the author of Keto Flex. It's so convenient. They're both right behind me.
Oh my God.
We didn't plan
How
that.
did that happen?
I am an author, a speaker, and I teach metabolic health. We teach ancient healing practices, ketosis, fasting, the science of these principles that have been around forever, but most importantly, the art. We teach a lot of these metabolic tools to regain and restore metabolism and to help upgrade your metabolism. So that's what we do. That's what I do.
Okay, so we're gonna start by preparing the meat.
Okay.
We're gonna do all of this meat into here, and then we'll add these ingredients to spice it up a little bit.
Okay.
So let's open this up.
Open it up. So we're gonna put this in here.
Yep.
All right.
Do you wash your hands?
I washed mine.
I gotta wash
Yeah.
mine.
This is 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, meaning it's not finished on grain. We were looking at the differences between the grain and this. Did you see it? The other one had a whole bunch more marbling
Yeah.
because they fattened them up with a bad diet and pesticides. But this one is nice.
Yeah.
This is what we want.
So have you ever had Wagyu beef?
Yeah, I love Wagyu.
Do you like Wagyu?
Yeah.
Because I know that has a ton of marbling.
Yeah.
So as far as like the difference between the marbling in the non-grass fed beef versus the marbling in a Wagyu is, I mean, obviously Wagyu is a much higher quality meat, but like, what do you prefer? Or
I mean, I always
difference in
prefer, I don't think the Wagyu is grass-fed usually.
yeah.
So,
that's fine.
but it tastes really good, right? But it's so, they fatten it so much.
Yeah.
So you're kind of getting a trade-off, a little bit more flavor,
Yeah.
a little bit less health.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was interviewing my friend Tony, and he was talking about meat in steak restaurants. And so he used to be a chef in a steak restaurant, and they primarily used corn-fed meat
Right.
because of the flavor and also because it's more fattening,
Yeah.
and the fat's where the flavor comes in. And yeah, it's unfortunate that
It is
most restaurants
unfortunate.
do that.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes better and it's cheaper, so that's why they do it. But
Right.
grass-fed and grass-finished is what we want to do. Like this is
Yeah.
this is legit right here.
We're becoming what we eat.
We do. We become what we eat, and what we eat ate.
What we eat. We are what we eat eats.
Or ate.
Ate, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Ate,
Ate
they're
because
not
it's already
living
past
anymore.
tense. Yeah.
That's right. So do you call it a keto flex when you're keto? Like everything you do
When you
people
flex, when you flex out of ketosis, like a high carb day, that's a keto flex day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And then when you're in ketosis, it's just a keto day.
So why keto versus other diets?
Because keto is not a diet. Keto is a metabolic process. That's why.
Oh.
Of course, you can eat a diet to get you into ketosis, but technically, when we think about a paleo diet, a vegan diet, whatever diet, keto is the only one that's actually a metabolic process that our ancestors all did. There's nothing new about keto. It's just nuanced or new to people.
Yeah.
So that's why I love keto, because it's a process that we're designed to use, not forever and not dogmatic and differently for men versus women, but we're all designed to do it. And ketones are just a byproduct of fat burning. That's all it is.
So for people who don't understand what keto is or ketosis, can you explain a little bit more about what that metabolic process is doing in your body?
Yeah, so when we eat carbohydrates, obviously we spike blood sugar in the bloodstream. And the body has a very tightly controlled system in place. It doesn't like a lot of sugar in the bloodstream. It wants about 1 teaspoon or so in the entire bloodstream. So when we eat carbs, we have a rise in glucose. Then we have insulin that's pumped out to take that glucose. When you lower your carbohydrates, like a keto approach, keto lifestyle, now you're lowering glucose and insulin levels, and it unlocks the key to fat burning. So now we have stored fat that's being used for energy, because now the body has depleted its sugar reserves the muscle and liver cells. And then it's like, where am I gonna get my energy from now? And that's where it starts to burn body fat. And the body fat is sent to the liver, and then the liver produces ketones. So that's all it is, really. And there's a lot of benefits to it. Obviously, a lot of people are hyper insulinemic. They're insulin resistant. They're type 2 diabetic. They really need to lower insulin. About 60% of Americans are diabetic or pre-diabetic. They really need to lower insulin. But just in general, in America, the studies suggest that 93% of American adults are metabolically unhealthy. Only 7% of us are metabolically healthy. So I say they're in a keto deficiency. They really need to learn how to burn body fat again and reduce inflammation and lower ketones. And ketones, we were talking about stress in the kitchen. When you're in ketosis, it is also a stress to your body. It signals that either you're going through a famine or it is winter and there's no carbs available. But that stress short term could be very beneficial, especially for the mitochondria. It helps the mitochondria pump out 400% more ATP than when you're burning sugar. So the key, though, is to do it the right way. Unfortunately, with keto being so popular, more people are harmed by it than are helped by it, unfortunately.
Because they're not doing it the right way.
They're not doing it the right way. They're doing it too long. They're not doing it differently for a man versus a woman or whatever women's cycle of their life.
Yeah.
So the art is so important, and that's what we teach. It smells good.
So this is the San Marzano tomatoes. I love these because they just have more flavor. And I'm not exactly sure why the San Marzano ones are the best, but this company is my favorite for tomato sauce. I'd love them to sponsor me. That's good. That's probably good. Is there a specific reason why you like Kettle and Fire?
Yeah, most bone broth out there is contaminated, unfortunately, with heavy metals and glyphosate. As you mentioned earlier, they add some sugar sometimes. Kettle and Fire, also Bonafide Provisions, and there's some other good companies out there. They use grass-fed, grass-finished animals. It's tested for heavy metals. It's not contaminated, so I want to support the companies that are doing it right. Kettle and Fire is one of those companies. All right, Siete Carnitas seasoning.
So this is not pork, but...
It's not pork, but it'll still work.
It
smells really good. I smell it just pouring it here.
All right, let's put her in the oven.
Let's put it in the oven. Put it right in the middle here. How long are we putting this in here for?
Let's start at 15 minutes and just check on it.
Okay, I'll set a timer.
So when I was going through my health journey and learned about functional medicine and worked with a functional medicine doctor, my adrenal glands were stressed. And I was recommended to try a keto diet because it lowers that inflammation.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any guidance. The doctor was like, hey, maybe you should try keto.
Just go on Dr. Google and find out how to do it.
I was like, I'm a medical provider. At the time I was in PA school, so I'm like, I understand how the body works, and I'm still kind of getting to know this. I'm not an expert yet. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So what I did was I Googled how to do keto, and what I found was you just eat low carb. And all you do is just eat lots of meat and cheeses. And at that time, I hadn't been eating meat or cheese as much. And I felt like it was a huge stress on my body.
Yeah.
And I actually felt worse. And I know they say the keto flu is kind of what happens when you're transitioning into ketosis. And I was measuring if I was with the keto sticks that you pee on to check for the ketones in your urine. And yeah, I started to feel worse. I had more shortness of breath, which I attributed to the increase in saturated fat, which may or may not be actually true. And I had more brain fog. I couldn't focus with my school. I just felt kind of blah. So did I do it wrong? Because are you supposed to be feeling these things?
Sometimes there is a transition period where you're going from burning sugar to burning fat where you feel off, but you shouldn't feel that awful. It should be very short-lived. The keto flu thing is very easily resolved. You just make sure you decrease your carbs slowly, not too dramatically, and then keep your electrolytes up, and you shouldn't feel that. But the number one reason why I see people struggle with keto, their liver can't produce bile to break down the fat. So they don't incorporate bitters, and they eat a whole bunch of saturated fat and just fat in general, and their liver, thick, sluggish bile is not breaking it down. So that's another reason right there. But another thing, it doesn't have to be a high-fat diet. Keto doesn't have to be a high-fat diet. It's not about eating a whole bunch of meat and cheese. You do eat more fat. You want to eat the right fat, but it's what they all have in common, all different keto approaches. It needs to be low carb for sure.
Yeah.
But the transition needs to be gradual. The electrolytes need to be up, and then liver needs to be supported. And as long as you do that, you should be great to make that transition, and then you kind of go from there.
That's very informative. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It makes sense too, because if you're starting to eat a whole different way, you need to obviously have time to adjust. And also if you're eating more fat, your body needs to have the resources to break down that fat, like you said, with the liver enzymes and the bile production. And if their detox pathways aren't open, if they have a sluggish bile duct or gallbladder or liver, then they're not going to feel good.
Correct.
So yeah, maybe slowly. I mean, in my head, what makes the most sense is like working on opening up those detox pathways first. Obviously, getting them on some digestive enzymes, the bitters, those other things to help with that bile flow. And then slowly reducing the carbs, getting into ketosis.
Yeah.
So what kind of timeline would that look like? A month, 2 months?
No, it's 14 days, 7 to 14 days. You know, you could do that. You could add some enzymes. You could add some things like Tutka is great for the liver. Yeah, I love Tutka. The bitters are great. You know, having a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before meals are great for the liver and also for postprandial glucose. So the idea, it doesn't have to take a month. Now, some people, there's always an exception, right? But for most people, 7 to 14 days, that transition should be fairly easy.
Yeah.
And you should feel better once you get fat adapted. I like testing blood versus the urine. There's 3 different ways to test ketones because there's 3 different ketone bodies. So there's beta hydroxybutyrate, which is the blood. There's acetoacetate, which is the urine. And then there's acetone in the breath. The urine is not going to be the most accurate because it's showing what your body's getting rid of. It's not necessarily showing what's in your bloodstream and what your body's using.
Yeah.
So when your body's using it really well, you might not show ketones in the urine, but you might be in ketosis. So I don't like it too much. I do like blood because it's showing what's circulating and it's looking at beta hydroxybutyrate.
Yeah, I guess the only problem with that is you have to have access to a lab and
No, finger prick.
Oh.
They have the machines, Keto Mojo. Yeah, they're finger prick. Yeah.
Oh.
So you don't have to go to a lab. Yeah.
Here I'm like, yeah, but the urine seems like the most convenient for people at home.
It's the cheapest and convenient. You're right, but
it's less painful.
Yeah, it's less painful. Yeah. So but they're coming out with, you know, they have continuous glucose monitors. They're coming out with continuous ketone monitors soon, and then dual ones where it's glucose and ketones. I can't wait for that.
Wow. I could see you loving that.
Yeah, totally gonna love that. Yeah.
I would geek out on that.
Who has been your greatest teacher, or some of them?
Greatest teacher. I mean, I learned a lot from a lot of people. My mom teaches me about being unselfish and having unconditional love. Ooh, good shot. You made it. My health mentor, Dr. Pompa, has been huge for me. Dr. Daniel Pompa has been huge for me in terms of understanding these mystery illnesses and why people can't get well. And also he's a business mentor too. But I learned from everybody. I mean, I've recorded 751, well, actually more because not all of them are released yet, but 700 plus episodes of my podcast. And it's a lot. And I learn from each person. I learn from you as well. I'm learning from you today. Not just the cooking stuff, but just the way you are. So I learn from everybody.
Yeah.
You were talking about the sponge thing, the analogy, right? That's what it's about.
We are all each other's teachers.
Yeah.
And everybody's unique in their experiences, you know, their purpose, their passions, what they focus on, how they see the world, and we all have something to share with each other.
It's true. We all do. Even dogs, right? Dogs are the perfect example of being present in the moment and unconditional love. Like I could walk into this house, it doesn't matter how my day is, how I look, how I smell, and he will come up to me and he will love me. I will walk him, and I might be thinking about a problem I want to solve. He's thinking about, look at the tree, look at the squirrel, look at the grass. So we can learn from animals too, especially dogs.
Absolutely. There's so much to learn in this life and many lifetimes. I don't know what you believe about all that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've tried a glucose monitor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've used them a lot in the past, just that's like curiosity.
Yeah. So did you? I personally haven't. That's on my list of things to try. I work with a lot of patients with diabetes, and they're always
that's important for them
those.
to use.
Yeah. And actually, you know, with talking about insulin sensitivity, I've kind of worked with patients on, you know, telling them to go lower carb, trying keto, trying just eating as healthy as possible, you know, as close to nature. But what do you usually recommend if a patient has, or somebody has diabetes, heart disease also? I feel like some people steer away or told to go low fat if they have cardiovascular issues because that saturated fat can technically cause more inflammation in the body and lead to worsening of their condition.
Yeah, I haven't seen that to be true. You know, as long as they're eating the right fat. If they're eating inflammatory seed oils and vegetable oils and trans fats, then you're correct. But if they're eating high quality fats, saturated fats, and monounsaturated fats, I've seen the opposite be true. Not just for myself, but in thousands of people that I've worked with over the years. And we've done lab work. So I've seen HSCRP improve. I've seen homocysteine improve. I've seen, their total cholesterol and their total LDL might go up, and that typically can happen when you eat more fat. But we test their particle sizes, and we see the pattern B go down, which is the bad pattern, and we see their HDL go up, which is, as you know, protective, and the triglycerides drop. So, man, for type 2 diabetics, I mean, keto is so powerful. So is intermittent fasting for them. You just got to use it properly. That's the thing.
Right. And going through all the right ways to start to get into the
Correct.
keto state.
You got to meet the person where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. This is habanero.
Oh,
You want it to be
yeah,
spicy?
that's right. It is habanero. Yeah, I have regular one.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is good.
Yeah, some real salt.
Good friends over at Redmond's.
And I watched your reel about that with talking about the particle sizes.
Yes,
and
yeah.
And I learned about that in my functional medicine training too.
I love
which
it.
is awesome. And not enough people are testing for that.
No.
The conventional, the way I was taught in school is look at the HDL, the LDL, triglycerides, and total cholesterol.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that you
more.
don't know. It's like testing for thyroid too. Like,
Yeah.
just looking at someone's TSH is going to give you nothing.
Nothing.
You have to look at all the other markers. So you mentioned that you work with people with getting them into ketosis, or what does your program look like?
Yeah, I have an academy. It's called Keto Camp Academy. So it's an online program. It's a monthly, like a gym, a monthly membership. And I have health coaches that I've trained that work with me. And those health coaches on my team work one-on-one with the students.
Yeah.
And then I do group Q&As a couple times per month. And I have all the modules built out on how to do keto and fasting. So the modules and the lessons are all built out, but then the coach customizes it, because obviously I'm giving you the framework, which is the science and what has worked for most people, but there's always exceptions. So the coaches then apply the art and customize it for them.
Definitely. Going back to bio-individuality, what works for somebody won't work for another person. So that's awesome. I remember watching, you were talking about this card that you would tell people to take to a restaurant.
Yeah, here it is. You want one? It's
Sure.
the metal one. It's the brand new one too.
Ooh, inside scoop. So tell me about what is this? How do people use it?
Yeah, it's a seed oil allergy card, and I have the paper one, which might be a little bit better to see on the camera than the other one. But we know how inflammatory these industrialized seed oils are. Now, I want to be clear: it's not that seed oils are all bad and omega-6 fats are all bad. That's not true. It's the ones that are processed that are bad.
Yeah.
So when I talk about seed oils, I'm referring to the processed ones. And arguably, they could be more inflammatory, more of a cause towards cardiovascular disease, even diabetes and cancers and autoimmune than sugar and smoking, because of how long they stay in the body. That linoleic acid, when it's oxidized, the half-life is 680 days.
Wow.
Which is 2 years.
Wow.
So when I go to restaurants, I've been doing this for years, I always tell the server, hey, look, what do you cook your foods in? What oil do you use? And it's always an inflammatory seed oil. And I tell them, I'm allergic to those oils. Can you use butter? Can you grill it? Can you have a different option for me? And when you use the allergy word or allergic word, they pay attention versus preference, because they don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
So for years, I've been telling my students to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But going back to that boundaries thing, people are uncomfortable kind of having these conversations. So I developed this seed oil allergy card, which shows those bad oils on here. And it says, dear chef, I'm allergic to these oils. Can you please cook with the alternatives below? And you just show this to the server, and it works really well. I went to dinner last night with my fiance and I used it, and it works really, really well. So I'm giving you the printed out version, but if your audience wants to get like the digital version for free, it's just seedoilcard.com.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It does make it a lot easier for people, because then you're not flustered like, no sales please.
Yeah, exactly.
And also I think a lot of maybe servers or chefs, maybe they don't know what that means.
Correct.
So showing them exactly, these are the types of oils that I cannot have, is going to make their job easier and yours.
And it looks official too when you have it on a card.
Yeah, you're like, I'm allergic.
Here's my official card to show it.
Stamp of approval.
It works really, really well. I haven't had an issue at any restaurant before.
It's like, my name is Ben Azadi and I approve of this message.
Yeah, exactly.
The authority. Have you heard of Seed Oil Scout?
Yeah, I love the idea of that.
Yeah, so Seed Oil Scout is this app or website that you can basically mark different restaurants as being seed oil free or seed oil friendly or totally rancid with seed oils. And it helps people to know what restaurants to go to if you're trying to avoid seed oils. And I think it's an awesome tool.
Brilliant idea. Yeah, you definitely want to support people that are doing that.
Yeah.
The only challenge with it is sometimes you go to a restaurant because you're invited to one they're not looking on a seed oil scout.
Yeah.
So that's where you would use something like this.
Right, you don't always have access. It's like going back to talking about your environment.
Yeah.
Like you don't always have control over everything in your environment, but you have control over the decisions that you make and the choices that you have. So.
That's right. And when I go to restaurants with like close friends, I'll tell the server that, we're going to all be sharing food, so we need to make sure nobody gets seed oils at the table.
Yeah, so you're able to help not just you, but everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Do people that you know or friends with that have learned kind of about what you're doing, are they influenced? Are they like, oh, what is this guy doing? Are they skeptical?
Some of them are influenced and they follow along, but I got to tell you, like I've spoken on stages with other really smart doctors and scientists who presented on the dangers of seed oils, and I would go to dinner with them that same night, and I would avoid the seed oil, and they wouldn't do it. So I don't know if they don't think it's as harmful as they believe or what it is. So, but then some of them are like all in and like they don't take the hit.
Yeah, I think that you see personal trainers in the gym, and if they're maybe talking about and coaching people through these exercises, and then they go home and sit on the couch and eat some potato chips.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that what they're saying is invalid. It's just, are they practicing what they preach?
Correct. Yeah, I'm not saying what they're saying is invalid exactly, but it's just, it perplexes me sometimes to see that.
Oh yeah, it would me too.
It's like, you know that it's harmful, but you're eating a French fry. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the thought process. Maybe like they do so many things right, they feel like they could take a small hit, and I do believe in living your life and all that, but you know, I just don't want to take that hit personally.
Yeah. So do you believe that seed oils is like one of the harder hits of health?
I think environmental toxins are number one.
Yeah.
And then I think seed oils are right after that, yeah.
Interesting. Do you notice a difference in how you feel if you eat them versus not?
I haven't had them intentionally in years, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel now?
I feel great now. I feel better than, you know, I probably ever have in terms of energy and just vitality. But that is a testament to me, you know, eliminating this years ago. So I don't know. But gluten, I'll have gluten sometimes when I'll take a small hit. I don't have a lot, but I will feel the next day with gluten.
Yeah. I feel like it's the same concept we talk about stressors. It's like even foods can be stressors on our body, with whether it's seed oils, dairy, gluten,
plant toxins.
And it's like technically our body should be able to process all of these things, and the more resilient we are, the more we can handle it. So sometimes I like to test my body a little bit, and I'll eat a little gluten, or I'll eat a little dairy, or other things that I don't typically eat on a daily basis, or some seed oils, just to kind of see and test where I'm at with my resiliency to food, and also to kind of promote my body's ability to fight a little bit. It's like kind of like that exposure therapy in a way.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
a hormesis. Hormesis could be applied with food, to your point.
Yeah, but also it's like, do you want to do things that you know are not good for you? So
I don't do that with seed oils, but I'll do it with sugar and other things,
or
for
sugar.
sure.
Yeah, that's the other one. So yeah, cool. Well, maybe if we put the seed oils on the Lila Q, what do you think will happen to that?
Maybe it makes every seed oil in the world healthy for us.
Yeah. So this Lila Q, for people who don't understand it, why don't you just describe it to us?
Yeah, this is called the Infinity Block from Lila Quantum. I also have their healing capsule necklace
You've
here.
been hiding that the whole time?
Yeah, because it's the shirt. I didn't want in the mic. It sometimes gets in the way. It probably got in the way right now. This is charged with quantum energy. I know, stick with me. I know it sounds crazy. Quantum energy, and it structures water and food. So I usually, every morning we can't put this in here because it's gonna tip over.
Can you put it on top?
No, it needs to be inside. I mean, there's some structuring taking place sitting next to it for sure. So keep it next to it. But I put my cup of coffee in here every morning for 4 minutes, and it structures it, meaning it just makes the water more bioavailable for your cells. And you can put food in there. You can put your hands in there. There's actually on their website, they have this study, really fascinating, where Wi-Fi is a problem with radiation, and it makes the viscosity of our blood makes it thick, and makes our blood clot. So they expose these individuals to high amounts of Wi-Fi. Why are you laughing?
I just burped.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't notice it. Yeah.
I wasn't sure it was
I should restart that, or we should leave the burp
let's
in.
restart.
Yeah, I'm like, what's so funny about viscosity? I'm thinking. I didn't hear you burp. We'll blame it on the Topo Chico.
It's getting to my head. It's all that viscosity.
All that viscosity.
Anyway, they're gonna be like, "Why are you so red all the
Yeah,
time?"
right. Exactly. What happened? The camera angle changed to the redness.
I have turned into a chameleon with the red chair. So the blood viscosity.
So they took these participants, and you're gonna make me laugh now, and they exposed them to Wi-Fi. We know Wi-Fi radiation makes your blood thick. And then they did a live blood analysis, and it showed their blood getting thick and clotting. Then they had them put their hands in here for 10 minutes and then retested it, and it went back to optimal function, their blood.
Wow.
So it thins the blood. It actually helps with HRV. We were just talking about heart rate variability.
Yeah.
And then it harmonizes Wi-Fi, and it has I forget what the square footage radius, but a big percentage of this house is being protected in terms of Wi-Fi with this right here.
Wow, it's pretty powerful.
A lot of cool things. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
I just interviewed Philip, the founder, on my podcast, so go check it out.
Little plug.
Keto Camp Podcast, although it's getting a new name soon, so just type in Ben Azadi in podcast.
Yeah, at the mastermind I was just at, we had Brian from Shielded Healing
Is that Brian Hoyer? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So he was talking all about EMFs, and he brought his device.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, and we were he was showing us the difference between the lights in the house versus outside, and that you can see the different colors of the waves of the light, and it's so fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Do you use red light at night? Because I know, and like the blue light blockers and everything.
I use the blue light blockers every night. I have those are my red light panels there.
Okay, yeah.
That's actually from Dr. John.
Nice.
So I use that in the morning. Our cats actually every morning, as soon as we open up the office door, they come in here and wait for us to turn that thing on. They know healing.
Oh.
So I use the blue light blockers at night
Yeah.
for sure. I use the ones from Viva Rays, which actually has the ones. Let me see if I have them here. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
these are the daytime ones, right? When I'm on my computer screen, they're yellow. And then there's an attachment when the sun comes down where you put the orange ones on. And then another attachment you put on an hour before bed that are the red ones. So it helps your body transition into the right spectrum of light as you go through the night. Yeah, it's super cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, so many cool things that we can do to support our health.
So many cool things.
And amazing that everybody, who's creating these products understood it and wanted to make a product and sell it to people so we can improve our health.
Yeah, thank God for them. And we want to support them as well.
Yeah, we do, because they're doing it right.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. We have olive oil from Italy. That's where you're from. So this is from the Fresh Pressed Olive Oil Club. Best olive oil in the world. Most olive oil, by the way, is cut or rancid. And the unique thing about this olive oil is that they use, first of all, organic regenerative farmers from all across the world. So depending on the time of year, they'll send it to you from what's in season. So this is the one that's in season from Italy.
Awesome.
I think these are ready.
They
I think
are.
we're ready to eat.
Thank you so much, Ben, for being on Katie in the Kitchen. I really enjoyed getting to know you more and cooking a lot of good food, learning about keto, what that is, and just expanding our consciousness and getting over those limiting beliefs.
Thank you for teaching me how to cook better. And it was, what a coincidence meeting you at Whole Foods.
I know.
What are the chances?
In Miami.
It all worked out.
So let's try it. I think this will be a good one.
I'm ready to break my fast. I'm like 17 hours fasted.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's get this boy some food.
Let's do it.
All right.
Ready?
Oh. What is one message that you want to share with the world?
The message I want to share with the world is that the body could heal itself. We just have to remove the interference, and it could be mental, emotional interference, it could be chemical, it could be physical. So as long as you remove the interference, the innate intelligence, the inner healer will go to work for you. I don't care what you're dealing with, how old you are, what your circumstances are, you remove the interference, the body will heal itself, but it starts with believing that the body was built to be self-healing. So you believe, remove the interference, and you will achieve that perfect health that you're seeking.
It's very true. We have that innate intelligence within us, letting it guide the way.
Amen.
So if you believe that, or if you're learning how to believe that, and you want to share this message, share it with a friend. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think and how you heal yourself.
And hit the bell icon too.
What is the bell icon?
That means you get notified when there's a new release on this channel.
I learned something new about content creation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.